I know that when I think of, as a writer, when I think about writer's block, I think a lot of times it comes down to being afraid of what somebody else will say about what you're writing. Be it like, mom might see it and judge it, or my peers, other MCs or other writers might see it and judge it. And so you're caught up in your feelings in terms of what will the world say? The world will say negative things and you're paralyzed and inhibited. And I'm like, if you can either address those forms, call mom and say, yo, I'm going to write about this so that you're, or just address, like, I'm going to go in myself and just do what I can do. What do you tell people to deal with writer's block? How do you deal with your block?
Well, for me, what the essence I boiled it down to is when I have a block, is because I'm not clear what I want to say, right? So there's the brain operates, linear and logically, but then it operates circular and creatively, right? And flows and feeling and energy is one side of the brain. But what are you talking about? And what are you talking about specifically, right? What are your linear points that you're trying to make? Just like if you were giving a speech or you were writing a book or whatever, you can't just generally write about random brainstorming, like it's like what points you trying to make, how are you pacing it out, so it's thinking more structurally to communicate. And once I can identify the subject matter and then the specific angle, then I can start saying, these are points, these are points, these are points. And now I have that logical linear part out the way. And then I can say, now, how can I dance with this information, right? How can I, how can I flow? So it's a yin and yang kind of process.
Do you, I know when I was first meeting MCs, it was a different time, and a lot of people would have a rhyme book or they would write something and then figure out how to put it to music. And through the 90s, I started seeing more people follow the method that Jay-Z talks about hearing the music and writing to the music. So
that's great. Yeah.
What about you? Can you write something like a poem and then put it into the music, or do you need to have a relationship with the music from the moment of birth?
Both. I can do either, and I believe like my martial art practice influences my creative practice. And in martial arts, you got to adapt to what's in front of you, right? You have to adapt to the ground. If it's raining, if it's icy, it's different than if it's not, right? So a good MC wants to be like a martial artist versus just a regular street fighter that got one or two, punches and that's it. You want to be able to adapt. So for me, I can, sometimes a whole rhyme will just come and I'm driving in the car or I'm on a run, and rhymes and couplets will just start coming. No beat, is just that. But I find I like to create to music if I can, because at the end of the day, the music is the terrain that your words have to live in. And if you try to force too many words or a flow that don't really respect the contours of this melody and all that, it'll sound like that. It'll sound like, here goes some words on top of the music. But when you, like Jay-Z, for example, master this, when you listen to the music and you start hearing space and you start hearing pockets and you let your Africanness, your humanness just feel that vibe and say, let the consciousness come, it's going to have a flow. It's going, and that's, we call it flow in hip hop, but it's really a flow of consciousness, and it's a flow that between you and that music. So it's a spiritual art form, man, what we're doing.